As a person with a disability, you need to work for solution, right? You need to find different way how to do things. You need to be innovative. You need to think outside of the box. And if I'm looking at my 15 years at Dow, how many times I had colleagues calling me, telling me, oh, we have this kind of issues. And because I had this mindset, hey, we will solve that issue, I could solve that within 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. Well, I'm still in Zurich, or to be exact, in Horgen, which is not far from Switzerland's largest city. I'm at Dow's regional headquarters for Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India. And I'm here to meet one of that company's remarkable managers. Dow, until fairly recently known as Dow Chemical, is one of the biggest chemical companies in the world. It has its global headquarters in the United States and employs well over 30,000 people around the world. So it's big. Many of you listening today will be familiar with the abbreviation DEI. It's an abbreviation which has been in the headlines a lot recently and stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's a conceptual framework designed to promote fair treatment and full participation of all people, particularly underrepresented groups, and it aims to ensure workplaces and institutions are equitable, welcoming, and accessible. And we're going to hear a lot more about that in the conversation today. To everyone, regardless of race, gender, age, or ability. Now, I stole Wikipedia's definition because I cannot improve on it. It's a concept and practice which has been around in various guises and with different names for a relatively long time. In fact, I myself was touched by it unwittingly more than 50 years ago in the USA, but that's another story. My guest today is Debbie Stettler. Hello, Debbie. Thanks for making time to be on the McKay interview, and thanks for inviting me here to Dow.
Yeah, good afternoon. Very excited to be here with you.
It's wonderful, Debbie, and I'm really looking forward to this interview, this conversation. It's not an interview, it's a conversation, because we've known each other a few years already.
Exactly.
So we feel at ease with each other. But what I'd like you to do is, first of all, because we don't have television, and there's good reason why I don't do this on Zoom or whatever all the other things are called, we just use the microphone and our voices, is to describe yourself and your condition, your disability, in your own words, not to me, because I know you, but to the audience that's listening, and they're listening from all over the world.
Great. I'm very happy to do that. So, I was born with a visible disability, which is having short arms. So my right arm is a little bit longer than my left arm. Then I do have a hearing disability, which is actually not visible to the people outside who are not really dealing with me every day, because you can't see it. The hearing aid is hidden in my hair, luckily, and I have curly hair, so that's even more an advantage for me.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So me, I'd have an advantage too with this stuff I've got on my head.
Exactly. You have curls, and then nobody will realize. And I actually had a lot of funny interaction with other people who said, "Oh, you're having a hearing disability." Yes, you have a hearing aid. No, you're not having a hearing aid. Yes, I have one. Okay, but that's another story.
Have you always worn your hair that length, or did you ever wear it down on your shoulders, or is that the length you prefer?
I have always had it in that length.
In that length, okay.
Yeah. As a teenager, I had it a little bit longer, but I couldn't deal with it. So I like that kind of haircut.
Yeah.
So it's like short shoulder, dark brown hair again.
And does your condition, what's happening, does it have a Latin name or a medical name, or is it a mix of things? Because I don't understand, I don't know much about these things.
I would say it's a little bit difficult, or a little bit challenging to describe what it exactly is. If you go into Wikipedia and look up Robertson syndrome.
Robertson syndrome, okay.
Robertson syndrome, yes. You have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because
Mm.
if you see the picture and the description of this syndrome, you have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because if you see the picture and the description of this syndrome, you have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because if you see the picture and the description of this syndrome, you have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because if you see the picture and the description of this syndrome, you have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because if you see the picture and the description of this syndrome, you have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because if you see the picture and the description of this syndrome, you have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because if you see the picture and the description of this syndrome, you have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because if you see the picture and the description of this syndrome, you have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because if you see the picture and the description of this syndrome, you have the feeling that syndrome doesn't belong to me, because if you see I could not be here where I am today.
I see. Okay.
So it's a really I would say the lungs are not function, the heart, you have a heart diseases and all this kind of things. So I always say I have a light version of this syndrome.
I see. Okay. So you've been like this since you were a baby. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you hold down this important job in Dow. You've been helping me just beforehand to pronounce these words, because even though I've still got my own teeth, I do have a problem saying digital too many times. You're the digital customer manager in sales, packaging, and specialty plastics. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yes, specialty plastics. It's
more or less, yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of us not familiar with your company, and there are the majority of people listening, apart from your fan club at Dow, well, tell me, what does that mean? What do you actually do, Debbie?
I would say we are a very big material science company.
Material science?
Yeah.
Okay.
Material science company, and we do various chemical science material that goes into different goods. And I would say I'm the expert in packaging and specialty plastics, so I will focus on this one. So packaging and specialty plastics is dealing with all kind of plastics. And I need to say I have been now in this role, digital sales role, since last summer. And I'm dealing with all the new customers who are interested in Dow products. And you cannot believe in how many items plastics is included. And it's interesting. Every day I see a new application, and then you think, oh yeah, plastics is in there as well. Oh yeah, that's right. You need to have, there is this kind of chemical as well. So it's very interesting to see the different kind of use of plastics, which I really enjoy, because you can really find different solution, and you can really see where you want to use that different, I would say, different plastics and different type of products.
You use the word new in that paragraph you just gave me. Does that mean that you're only doing new customers and new business, or you've got existing customers and you've got new customers in your portfolio?
I do have existing customers, but I also get I would say they're called, in the marketing language, you call them lead.
Yeah, I understand.
So, yeah.
And you follow up, and you develop those into potential.
Yes, I follow up with with those leads, and I decide, is that a business that Dow is interested to, and then I will give it to one of my other colleagues from sales, or I will keep it myself.
Oh, I see. So your job basically is prospecting, but I mean, I'm using my silly language, not professional language, prospecting and servicing those clients that you've prospected, and in a way harvesting, so it becomes more and more beneficial for both parties.
Yeah, you need to understand, I have a little bit of a shared role. So I do have my fixed customer portfolio. So this is what I have, and then next to it, I also dealing with those leads. So I do have existing customer relationship that I manage and that I work with.
Okay. And I know you've also got another chair. I mean, I imagine it's an honorary position. In other words, you don't get paid extra money for it. But I wrote down here that you're the chair of the Disability Employees Network for your region, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India. So what does that entail? Okay,
that's one of our ERG, which is the DEN, which is Disability Employee Network.
And what is an ERG? Sorry, I didn't know.
That's an employee resources group.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
And that's company-wide, not just region, around the whole globe.
That's a company-wide, and employee resources group can't be in any company, right? It's not, I would say, not a Dow-only concept, right?
Okay.
It exists also in other companies. So here I'm the one I'm responsible for the Disability Employee Network in EMEAI. So I'm leading this group, and I would say our main role is to ensure that people with different abilities can bring their abilities to Dow and to not get disadvantaged because they're having a disability. So we can really highlight that those talents are bringing valuable results to the company, because you also need to see 16% of the world population have a disability.
16,
16.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
And it's even
I hadn't
more.
realized it was such a big number.
It's even more, to be honest with you.
Because people don't admit to it.
But yeah, because people do not recognize that they have a disability, and I'm pretty sure there's a high dark number behind it as well.
Yeah.
So coming back to the point that I wanted to say is, it's a big talent pool that you would left out as a company if you would not include them in your workforce.
Of course. Yeah.
And a second point, we need to think also about it when we talk about people with a disability. Disability is so diverse, right? And disability is not everyone has it when they born, right?
Yes,
I'm one of the few has it when I was born, so I belong to the 20% of the 60%.
Oh,
Because
I see.
80% of the people who have a disability, they will get it during their lifetime.
80%?
80%, yes. And that's quite a number. And this is why it then, in my opinion, is super important and has a great role to play, because disability can impact everyone.
Of course.
Everyone,
Yeah.
right? And this is why it is important that we raise awareness and that we understand how people with a disability can bring their ability to work, to society, and within their environment where they live.
And this association, or network, that's the correct word to use.
Yes.
Is that connected to a trade union, or is it quite separate from an employee association or a representative trade union in a company? Does it work like that?
No, it's really it's really separate. It's an employee resources group, so it says it is an employee resources group which is based from employees but supported down from the management.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have the management who is supporting us with the ERGs. And if we are looking with, if we are talking with other peers in the industry, that's something that impress many companies or many others that we talk, that we are really having the support of our management.
So
right?
companies look up to you and they try to emulate and copy what you do. Yeah.
Yes. So we do have quite of an influence in I would say in the society and in the industry.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. So let's go back a little bit in your story. Tell me about your school days, Debbie. Did you go to school for disabled children or to the normal school? Are you able to tell me a little bit about the custom and practice in education and training in Switzerland, what it's like for disabled people, and does so many things in this country regarding health and education. Does it hängt von der Kanton ab? Does it depend on the canton? You laugh, but you know what I mean when I say that. Non-Swiss people won't understand why we're laughing, but you know what I mean.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. But if you go into the US, that every state has their different rule as well. So it's not really different, right?
That's true.
No, I would say I have been in a very lucky position that I grew up within a family, and especially with parents who thought that my disability will never be a deal breaker. And this helped me a lot to go through, I would say, the normal school system and to explore the same opportunities that others or that my brother who doesn't have a disability to have the same opportunity. And yes, we got some support from the canton, and we got some support from the, what you call the Invalidenversicherung in Switzerland.
Versicherung means insurance.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, I would say I was not really treated differently because of my disability, because I would say if you get to know me, you realize very quickly that I only really have a physical disability and not a mental disability.
I would say that you're as sharp as a knife. I've worked with you, and you're really there. You know, so congratulations, Debbie.
Thank you for that.
I'm your fan. You know.
Thank you very much for that.
When it came to focusing or choosing, I used the wrong word. When it came to choosing a career, you know, when you were, I don't know, 15 or 16, 17, how did that go? I mean, did your road lead first to Dow, or did it go in other directions? And how did you end up here?
I would say I would lie if I would not have a little bit more a bumpy journey than other without a disability. However, in the end, I managed. And I also, looking back, I also understand that maybe it was new for people who had first interacted with myself, right? There is someone with short arms. You maybe don't know how to greet that person, and then it's already the first barrier already starts, right? And then you need to, and I always haven't seen it as my job to, not to educate, but to be understanding with the person that I'm speaking to say, okay, where is that person standing? Where are their bias? What do they want to understand about me? With 16, I need to be honest with you, Michael, that's very difficult, right? So because of that, I might came into a little bit weird situation with people where people did not react as I would have expected. And it took me quite long to really to put down those barriers in those people's mind to understand, okay, here's someone coming who has a disability, but as you said, is sharp as a knife. And it's like you need to prove. You always need to bring a little bit more than others.
It must be a bit tiring, always.
That was maybe a little bit tiring in that point, but on the other hand, you also learn how to interact with people. You also learn to realize, okay, if something goes wrong, it will not go wrong forever, right? And this is how you learn. So coming back to your question is, yes, it was a challenge way to find my career because I was writing 155 of application as a 16-year-old to find my apprenticeship. In the end, I found it. But then I really followed the same CV as all others. And when I joined Dow in 2011. And that's where I would say the first time I really could breathe. So because I was in an environment, I was in a safe environment, and there was no discussion more about my disability. So my disability was not putting into the center anymore. That is what probably was a little bit in my early career stage as a teenager, that a lot of people put my disability first than my ability second. So, yeah.
I've just been looking at my notes, and it just occurred to me, actually, I sort of reflecting on what I wrote. I was going to ask you if you had somehow any idea of how many opportunities have been denied to you. But then I thought to myself, just sitting here in front of you, well, I'm sure Debbie didn't keep count of how many opportunities. But you've said it already, that there were many times when you must have been quite discouraged. But let me ask you a different question. Have there been times when your disability counted as advantageous to your situation?
Mm-hmm. Nowadays, I do see my disability as an advantage. And maybe to still answer your question about how many chances were denied of my disability. If I'm looking back, there were only 2 really incidents that I thought was going in that direction that it was denied. But on the other hand, I say, okay, if one door closes, you will have the other door will open,
That's
right?
True. That's true.
This is how you need to see it. And I would say exactly this mindset has brought me living with a disability, right? Because as a person with a disability, you need to work for solution, right? You need to find different way how to do things. You need to be innovative. You need to think outside of the box. And if I'm looking at my 15 years at Dow, how many times I had colleagues calling me, telling me, oh, we have this kind of issues. And because I had this mindset, hey, we will solve that issue, I could solve that within 5 minutes. So I would say this is certainly a strength that came through my disability.
It's what the Americans call a can-do attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. The can-do mindset is really there, and I have it, and it's in my DNA, right? It's something you not get rid of me, and it's like if I'm looking at all the challenges that people have, and I go like, okay, we go, and we're gonna solve it, right? And the only thing where you then need to be careful that people maybe look at you and say, yeah, but that's a big problem and blah, blah, blah. And then you need to say, then you need to maybe take a step back and say, okay, they're in different shoes, right? And you need to understand also their viewpoint to see where to go, right? So I would say that is my biggest advantage, so that I'm not, I have my fears, but I'm not the one, if something goes wrong, I don't have the feeling it's the end of the world anymore.
I think it's a great attitude to have. I wish there were more people like that, you know. My guest today is Debbie Stettler. She's a digital customer manager in sales, packaging and specialty plastics at Dow, Europe, Middle East, Africa and India region. And Debbie is disabled. Now, Debbie, a bigger question, it may be that you can't answer me for the whole country, but give us a rough idea in your experience of how supportive Swiss law for people with disabilities is. Can you give some examples of its being supportive in a good way? Or maybe it's not. I mean, if it's not, tell me.
No, I would say if you look at living in Switzerland for now over 38 years, there have been seen a lot.
Where did you come from before that? You didn't tell us that. So before the 38 years, where were you?
I was 2 years in Munich.
2 years in Munich. Okay.
Yeah. So no, I would say it's. If I'm looking at this question, it's a mixed question for me to answer, right? Because I would say in every opportunity you have disadvantages, and you have in every challenges you have opportunities. Okay, so in my viewpoint, Switzerland has a great safe environment, but you need to look for it, right? So if you are a person with a disability, nowadays I would say it has changed with a lot of associations which are around. But in the past, example, when I was looking for my career path, there was not a lot of information available how to support, right? And this has changed. And I would say you know how sometimes Swiss people can be. They're a little bit shy and they're a little bit, let's see what is happening, right? And you need to really look for the information that you can get. But I would say a good example is that if you need some support, you will get it. So you have the insurance. Insurance is who is paying for all the, I would say, additional tools that you need. The insurance will pay for it, right? I have a monthly allowance that I can spend for people who support me. And that's also great.
For people not in Switzerland who are listening to this, is this a federal benefit, if that's the right word, or is it depends on the canton?
No, it's a federal, but it's based on the canton. The canton will decide.
Really? It's a mixed.
Yeah.
It's a mixed thing.
So in principle, if you get this is a kind of allowance without going into details. They will evaluate how independent you can live on your own, and based on this charge, you will get an allowance.
I see.
Okay. And that really depends. So this allowance is fixed, and this is really from the federal. But then the canton needs, in principle, to implement it to action, right?
And just going back to what you said before, we were talking about Swiss attitudes of Swiss people. Do you find their reaction depends on where they come from, or their age, young people versus older people, or is that too simplistic An expectation of mine.
I don't want to judge on that one,
Yeah.
right? Because then we're going to go back to the bias thing,
Yeah,
and
sure.
we don't want to be biased, right? This is what we people with a disability fight for, that people are open and open-minded to see. I would say how I evaluate this reaction is simply like, hey, I am belonging to the 16% of people with a disability, and I would say the majority is 84%, right? And of course, you see 84% on the street, and then you suddenly see someone who looks different. I would say everyone looks, oh, what is that? Right? And for me, it's important that you have the dialogue and that you are open and that you are asking questions, right? And not to shy away. And I think also if you feel uncomfortable in front of me or interacting with me, tell me. And we'll find a solution together. But not thinking, oh my gosh, oh, I should not be, or what you also see very often is, and I have seen that a lot, that you see the people thinking they judge themselves because they feel uncomfortable. And I think that's the worst feeling that you can give yourself.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Because you can, it's okay. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to react weird or whatever. I would say the most important is to acknowledge that and to understand, oh, okay, that's something different, so let's ask questions, right?
And regarding Dow, the company, regarding its approach to employees with disabilities, would you say that Dow is a leader or a follower or in the middle of the pack as far as employers go in Switzerland? What's been your experience or what you hear from other people?
I would definitely say that Dow is a leader.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Dow is a leader in this because you don't see any bias when you go to work, right? You do your work, they are focusing on your ability, and your disability is not getting a topic, right? They are not putting my disability as something in a topic. And the only reason why I'm speaking sometimes about my disability is because I want to give example that someone with a disability can have a normal career and can be as, I would say, as normal as others are. And that's my main goal, and that's my main message. And that's why I'm speaking about my disability. Other than that, I will not do it, because I think I do have my arms, right? But I do not exist because of my short arms, as long as like you are not only existing because you have 2 long arms, right? And this is something we always need to keep in mind.
Okay, that's good to know. I just wanted to ask you, in your interaction as a sales executive, you must talk to other people in other parts of Europe, other parts of the region. And I just wondered if the conversation ever strays into some of the things that we've been talking about, or you just don't bring that up, or the impression you have, how Switzerland compares with other countries in Europe regarding the way in which the country's legislation or attitudes, vary from place to place. I'm just curious to know what's been your experience.
I would say every country is different, right? However, if I'm looking at my job when I'm interacting as a digital customer manager, for me it is important I do my job, right?
Yeah.
And I'm focusing on my job. And this is something, one of my value is when I'm interacting with customers or with other stakeholders, as long as the other party is not asking any question about my disability or anything else, I'm not doing it as a topic. Even if I see that the people are a little bit hesitating. I just go back to the business and see, okay, how can we work together as a team? And if there is then any questions, I'm really happy to answer them, but I don't want to put it into the middle in the middle of my conversation or put it on the spot. Put it like that.
Okay.
It's not I'm not doing it. I don't want to do that. It's like I want to do what I can, and if I need something, I'm expecting that people will support me, that I'm able to do my job.
Last question, Debbie. Having worked, and I'm not trying to flatter you because you're sitting here in front of me, but having worked and interacted with you recently on an important corporate project, I have the feeling that you're a very perceptive student of human nature. You're also a great company to be with. Would I be right in saying that people with disabilities like yourself have much greater adjustments to make to the world of able-bodied people than the other way around? But what has been your experience of the way in which able-bodied people need to adjust to a more diverse world, not only in the workplace, but outside of it too? And where do able-bodied people err or stumble, if that's the right word, even if it's unwittingly, most frequently? You've seen people become embarrassed when you feel there's no reason for them to be embarrassed. Or am I making too much of it?
I have now been a little bit thinking about these questions and being in the same direction, because I just had another internal session yesterday at Dow. And I realized there are three components which are important. It's the first of all that myself as a person with a disability, I know exactly what can I do, and I have a healthy self-confidence. Then the second is that I'm dealing with people around, or the other people, or I'm dealing with are open, curious, and willing to ask questions. And the third one is that point 1 and point 2 comes together, so that we collaborate together as a team, right? And this is the only way how you can create true inclusion. Because that's how I see it. I'm absolutely not a fan, and I really admit that, when you go on the street and say everything is stupid and everything is not working. Maybe, yes, there are things not working into the right direction, but the only thing you can do to make it work is to go to the people and say, hey, look, listen, this is what I need. Can we work together on the solution, right? Because we all together, and in the end of the day, I want to succeed as well, and I also want to make sure that the other one feel comfortable as well. Because the worst thing what you can do is, regardless where, that can be in a partnership, that can be in a friendship, that can be in a working environment, the worst thing that you want to do is that someone has the feeling they need to do something for you because of your disability, right? You want to give them a great value and say, hey, yes, here I am with my disability, but that doesn't mean that you need to disadvantage yourself, or I need to disadvantage myself. Let us find together a solution how we can incorporate together into great opportunity.
It's a very profound explanation. Thanks. I'm grateful for that, Debbie. Can I ask you a personal question now?
Yeah.
But tell me, Michael, it's not your business, and I'll accept that. What do you wish for, Debbie, professionally and in your personal, private thoughts, if I'm not being too intrusive? But if I am being intrusive, don't feel you're obliged to answer my question. What do you wish for?
I would say my biggest wish is that I don't need to justify my disability.
Thank you. That's short.
Yes.
Yeah, to the point. Debbie, many thanks for answering all my questions. It's for me been a joy to be here. It's worth the 300-kilometre trip to come and talk to you and listen to you. I'm grateful to you. Today, my guest has been Debbie Stettler. She's Digital Customer Manager in Digital Sales. There, you see, I said digital twice, and I got it right. Packaging and Speciality Plastics at Dow. Region Europe, Middle East, Africa and India, and also chair of the Disability Employee Network in the region. Thanks again, Debbie. Last word to you.
Thank you very much. It was very nice to chat with you and to reflect.
Thanks for listening to the McKay Interview podcast. You can find my show on most of the leading podcast platforms, plus the complete playlist dating back to 2012 can be found by writing The McKay Interview into your browser. Thanks again for listening.